Hi, I'm Joe and welcome to the review of the HTC One A9s. Let's get straight into the review, and the first thing I want to talk about is the design. I know HTC originally created the iPhone look, but the iPhone kind of does it better, and this looks more like a blatant copy than anything else. There are some good points about this, and that's the metal body. It does feel really good, and it definitely has a premium look, but it does have some huge bezels on the front of the screen, and it's probably one of the slippiest phones I've ever used in my whole life. Saying that, on the front of the device is the fingerprint sensor, and it's really good.
Let's talk about that fingerprint sensor. It's on the home button, but it isn't an actual button. I'm used to it being on the back, but I can definitely get on board with it being a front-facing one. It was easy to set up and surprisingly good. Sometimes when I pull the phone out of my pocket, it would light up and the phone would vibrate and start to authenticate. Apart from that, the sensor was excellent. According to HTC, this is the successor to the A9, which had a 1080p screen. This, on the other hand, has a 5-inch 720p screen. The quality of the glass seems to be pretty good, although I wish it was a little bit brighter. The A9s does not perform well in direct sunlight. The HTC A9s, that's a mouthful, it's running Marshmallow, and a fairly clean version of HTC Sense on top of Android Marshmallow. There's a bunch of HTC apps installed which I had very little interest in. I thought the Help and Boost apps were kind of pointless. The Boost app supposedly helps improve battery life by optimising applications, but Android does that already in the background without any user intervention. It doesn't help that this phone has poor battery life in general. Most of my normal days of light usage finish between 70 and 60%. It also has a terrible standby time. Overnight I lost about 40% of battery even after HTC's optimisations. You'll also find a video editor which was rather basic. It's trying to do a similar thing as to what the iPhone does with hyperlapse modes, but it doesn't really cut it.
Speaking about that camera, I went around Hull City Centre, it's a city of culture by the way, and the photos I took weren't that impressive. The photos are really soft and not as sharp as I thought they would be. It was overcast conditions in Hull and colours were just a bit flat. It's also not as good in low light because of the smaller aperture the new phone has. The front-facing camera is 5 megapixels. It's pretty standard for the price.
When I first looked at the spec sheet of this phone, I was a little bit disappointed, but it performs really well actually. And that's exactly how it should be for a 2016 device of any budget. It was a smooth experience and there was no crashes or slowdowns on my normal day.
Before I wrap things up on the review, I have to talk about a few things. One of them is it has an earphone jack, yay. And it's also micro USB. I wish it was USB-C, but I suppose it's cost saving and all that. It also comes in 16 and 32 gig internal storage, but it also has a micro SD card slot, which is fantastic really. Unfortunately, the speakers are rubbish. Probably one of the worst of all the phones I've ever used, even some other budget phones. At the highest volumes is completely unlistenable, and anything below that is actually really quiet. I understand there's compromises for phones to make, and this is a budget to mid-range phone. But HTC were the best at making speakers thanks to the HTC Boom sound, but this doesn't have it. I'll talk about software more in the written review, but the one thing I do have to mention is notifications. HTC absolutely love notifications. I was getting news notifications, I was getting notifications when my earphones went in. It was very distracting, very annoying. Of course, a lot of those you can turn off, but you have to go to the settings to turn all those off. The worst thing about it all is that in the blink feed and the blink feed lock screen, you get adverts on them. So imagine getting adverts on your lock screen was not good. So in conclusion, the HTC One A9s, it does look good. It's a premium looking phone, it's durable and attractive, but it does look like an iPhone. The camera's acceptable for the price. It's just an okay average camera, and the fingerprint sensor is really good actually. Top-notch fingerprint sensor for the price. The one thing that I dislike about this, the biggest thing, is the battery. Any phone that ends the day at 60% battery rates poorly in my book. Do I recommend the HTC One A9s? I don't recommend the name, but yeah, it's an okay phone. There are definitely things that I dislike about it, but all those things are kind of small little issues. Unfortunately, HTC price their phones rather highly, and if it was a bit cheaper, then it'd be an easier recommend. But that's it. Thanks for watching the review of the HTC One A9s. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.